I've been dreaming about Scotland all my life. We're finally gonna see what it's all about.
Voici Slow Trip.
We're traveling around the world one trip at a time.
Allons-y.
I'm Jay and this is my wife Bougie. This is our slow travel channel. We talk about some of our tips and tricks, all the little nuances that have to do with the idea of slow traveling. It's not about time abroad, it's not about immigration, and it's definitely not just for retirees. If you've been watching our channel, you know that we're traveling around the world one trip at a time. It's something we've committed to since I've recently retired. This trip, we're traveling to Scotland and the United Kingdom on an epic road trip across the Highlands.
In the United States, you must wear your mask even if you're fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
This episode, we wanted to talk about the number one truth of slow travel, which is it's not about the time. It's not about how long you spend in a foreign country. It's about your pace and your mentality while you're traveling abroad. Many of the slow travel channels will tell you that you need to spend 30, 60, 90 days in a foreign country in order to slow travel. We're here to tell you you can do plenty of slow travel in just 2 weeks. This trip to Scotland almost didn't happen. It came on the heels of the COVID-19 pandemic, and Scotland was one of the first countries that opened its borders. This trip was only 14 days long. Our plan was to travel all around Scotland in one of our favorite modes of travel, and that's by rental car. A rental car is a great way to travel to places that tourists don't usually get to. It allows you the freedom to come and go as you need to. You set your own time schedule. It offers that special opportunity to find a hidden secret right around the next bend. Now don't worry, we'll do another episode with all the details on how you rent a car in a foreign country, all of our little secrets that we've learned. We've even rented boats and scooters. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So our routine goes something like this. On the first day, we usually explore our immediate surroundings. We get settled into our lodging. We tend to stay in boutique hotels, but lately we've been gravitating more towards Airbnb and more long-term stay options. There's no rush to see the tourist spots. It's just a chance to kind of wander around town and get used to everything. We talked about it in our Greece video. UNESCO World Heritage Sites are some of the best things to see. Everyone likes to see the famous sites, but we avoid the guided tours. We do our own research, staying independent and on our own time schedule. And staying on our own time schedule is the key. If we have a good breakfast, then we can sample the local delicacies all throughout the day. Truth be told, we don't always eat traditional, but we do eat local. Trust me, you can find some amazing Mexican or Chinese food in some of the strangest places. We'll end our day with drinks and a light meal. Sometimes it can be quite late. After the first or second day, it's time for a day trip. This is always about the journey, not necessarily the destination. Let me tell you about what we learned renting a car in Scotland. Obviously, you can rent a car in Scotland at the airport or any of the major cities. If you're from the United States, you'll need your state's driver's license, and an international driver's license is always handy. Unlike many of the countries we've been to, our travel credit card did not offer comprehensive insurance for the rental car in Scotland. So we had to purchase additional insurance through the rental car agency. In this case, it was Enterprise. Pay particular attention to the limits and what the insurance actually covers, because it's very common to have some sort of a blowout or a tire problem. Many times this is not covered with the basic insurance. The Stone City curbs, driving on narrow country lanes, some of the roads are unpaved. There can be a high likelihood that you may damage your rental car. We found it to be a prudent decision to get the full rental car insurance. No matter what the time of year, Scotland has diverse weather, so prepare your car accordingly. Make sure you have rain gear, water, and snacks. If you're taking a road trip around Scotland, it goes without saying that you're probably going to see a castle. It seems like they're everywhere all across the countryside. And the best part is, you can walk right up to them and explore them to your heart's content. Okay, this morning we are on the east coast of Scotland, a place called Culliston, which is just north of Aberdeen. and we're going to see two ruins, Old and New Slains Castle. Traveling by car means we can pick and choose when we get to the sites, and in this case, it allows us to visit when there's virtually no other tourists around. This is the essence of slow travel, to be able to go as fast or as slow as you like, to be able to stop and see the things that you want to see. It really creates a bespoke experience. I'm at Dunnottar Castle on the east coast of Scotland. Look at that castle! This is Dunnottar Castle on the east coast of Scotland. We're about 30 miles south of Aberdeen, where we're heading tonight. It's awesome. Park is closed today, but the scenery is just amazing. Bougie wants me to remind you, if you're traveling in the off-season, make sure you bring your hats and gloves. It certainly is much more of a personal experience when you're the only one there looking at the ruins. I've been dreaming about Scotland all my life, and this is what it's all about. On this trip, we used the following cities for our base of operations: Edinburgh, Aberdeen, Inverness, Glasgow. Our final leg of the trip would take us back through London on our return trip home. Every day was a new adventure, driving the back roads between the lochs. Inverness turned out to be one of the best locations insofar as a jumping off point for all sorts of various day trips. While you could glimpse the natural beauty of Scotland driving around in a tour bus, it's a much more intimate and personal experience when you're driving yourself and you can stop and take a moment to admire the scenery. Inverness became our gateway to the Highlands and beyond. I have to say the high point of this trip was taking a 2-hour drive to Ullapool for the sole purpose of getting fish and chips. We've arrived in Ullapool. Ullapool is one of those places on the map that I just always wanted to see what was going on there. Well, there's not much here in Ullapool. It's just kind of a small fishing town. You don't need to live somewhere 60 days to do slow travel. You just need to drive to some remote location to pick up lunch. Check this out. Fish and chips. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's haddock. Scottish haddock. Delicious fish and chips from Ullapool at the end of Scotland. Well, part of the end. Bougie keeps laughing at me. Today we're going to see Loch Ness. I'm just ecstatic.
Priorité au grand moment.
The way the geography changes over such a short space, from gentle rolling hills to snow-capped mountains, it's just... I think it's better than what I imagined it to be. Slow travel is about those bucket list moments. Finally getting to see something that you've been thinking about since you were a little kid. We're driving past Loch Ness and it started snowing. So now we're trying to make our way down to Glasgow, probably about 3 hours away. So we got a lot of slow moving, bad weather to get through. Slow travel is about mentally being present. That's pretty cool. One of the things I like about a road trip in our foreign travels is it causes us to be totally present in the moment as we make our way from one destination to the next. I will forever remember driving through the Highland mountains in a snowstorm. When we're doing slow travel, we prefer to stay out of the major cities like London, New York, Paris. We prefer second, third-tier cities, but inevitably we've got to go through the major airport. So we've returned to London for a few nights on the town. The one advantage of these big cities is that they often have fantastic museums and art galleries. We always try to catch some art when we're doing one of our trips. Speaking of bucket list, Bougie's got to get back to her day job, and I've got to get started on our next video. This is going to be something you're going to want to see. We're going to travel 60 days from Amsterdam to Istanbul, over 14 countries, and we're going to do it the slow way. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Go slow.
Doucement.
Go travel.
Voyager.